What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we are continuing our deep dive into the Transformers trading card game by having a look at Chop Shop. I like Chop Shop. Chop Shop is one of the Insecticons, and it's a very, very nice one indeed. Now, if we have a look at the basics here, we can see that it is a 6-cost card, which is much lower than the average of 8, but the stats do reflect that mostly. The defense, the average is 2. We have got 2 in alt mode, but only 1 in bot mode. The average health is 12, whereas here you've got an average health of 9. Although, to be fair, that is 3/4 of the average health. And this is 3/4 of the average cost, so that works out quite nicely. And the attack is 4 in both modes, which is the average. So we do have lower than average stats, but they're pretty much in line for what a 6-cost card should look like. But as with so many cards in this game, the really important thing is the skills. That's what makes it playable. Now, in alt mode, it's fine. When you flip to this mode, scrap all upgrades on this character. For each one scrapped this way, draw a card and repair 1 damage from one of your Insecticons. Now, we're going to be looking at the FAQ here because the bot mode is very complicated in terms of the skill. But it is worth mentioning here that you can put these wherever you like. So if you scrap 3 upgrades, you can heal 1 from each of 3 different characters, or 3 from 1, or 1 from 1 and 2 from another. It really doesn't matter. This is good. Firstly, it's drawing. Secondly, it's healing. The problem is you can only attach 1 upgrade per turn. And yes, fine, there are ways to attach extra upgrades, but it's not exactly the easiest thing to do here. I mean, if you're playing a specialist, then you can play multi-tool to attach an extra upgrade, but generally speaking, it's not going to be the easiest thing to do to attach extra upgrades. So although this is a really good skill, it's not one you're going to be using turn after turn after turn. But it's the bot mode skill here where things get really kind of confusing. When this attacks, you may move an upgrade from one of your other characters to this one. Now, it is a fairly straightforward ability and it does work exactly like it should, but I have seen many questions over on the Facebook group about this, and it's got more entries in the FAQ than your average Transformers character. So, let's have a quick look here and confirm some things. So let's say, for argument's sake, you want to move a weapon over, but you've already got a weapon on there. That one's nice and simple. You just scrap the original weapon. So in the same way you can attach a weapon to a character that already has a weapon attached, you've just got to scrap the one that's on there. Same thing here in terms of moving it over. Fine. If the upgrade I move over onto Chop Shop has an ability that triggers when the upgraded character attacks, does that ability trigger? Well, no. Because by the time you move it over, you're already attacking. So when you attack, you may move an upgrade for one of your characters onto this one, but then by the time you move it over, you're already in the process of attacking. Now, there aren't many cards that do this at the moment, although presumably that's going to carry on more and more in the future. We're going to get more in future sets, but thermal weaponry is an example of a battle card or, an upgrade that comes in when you attack. And thermal weaponry says when the upgraded character is attacking, it has Pierce 1, that attack, for each blue icon that you flip. But like I've said, by the time you move this over from another character, you're already attacking. So you can't do this when you start attacking because you are indeed already attacking. Okay, well that makes perfect sense, to be honest with you. I'm all in favour of that one. If the upgrade I move onto Chop Shop gives him bold or an ability to flip extra battle cards when I attack, do I flip extra battle cards? Well, yes, of course you do. Because the ability comes in when you start attacking, but before you've actually started flipping. So if we see something like Flamethrower, for instance, that gives Chop Shop Bold 2, that's fine. When you start attacking, you move Flamethrower over. Then you start flipping cards. Well, at the point where you start flipping cards, Flamethrower is on there, so it gives you Bold 2. All of these do make perfect sense when you think it through. And then finally, if it's an upgrade that only works on planes, will it work on Chop Shop? Well, no, you can't move it over. So something like Aerial Recon put on planes only. You can't put it on a non-plane. So what would happen is you would go, right, I'm flipping over, I'm going to move aerial recon, but then you read aerial recon and go, oh no, wait, this can only be put on planes, I can't move it over. So although it is awkward and the FAQ's got a few things on it and I've seen a bunch of questions, all of them, if you think it through, do make perfect sense. Now, in terms of partners here, we talked about this in our other Insecticon videos, links to all those in the description. Quite frankly, you need to play an Insecticon deck. Now, my favoured way to go, you have to go 4 wide here, and I think you've got to go for Scrapnel, because Scrapnel's borderline broken. I think you've got to go for Kickback, it's a 5 cost, also it repairs, which is quite nice, and when it's attacking you flip 2 more battle cards for each other Insecticon with which you began the game, flipping 6 battle cards before you even begin, 6 more, 8 in total, that's pretty good. And Ransack, you can move damage counters over and the attack is equal to the damage counters on him. I think that's pretty good. You do also have Barrage, bold 2 when attacking a damaged enemy, and it can give one of your other characters PS2, so I am all in favour of popping Barrage in here. Bombshell's an 8 cost, and the stats aren't amazing. I mean, 5 attack is alright and 4 defense is good, but I'm still not loving it. Not as a vanilla card, not when you've got a bunch of other options. So personally, I want to go Insecticon, Scrapnel, Kickback, Ransack and Chop Shop, but I wouldn't be upset if you wanted to put Barrage in. I would be upset if you put Bombshell in. And I think you do have to go 4 wide with the Insecticons. Partly, I mean, if you're playing Kickback, you need to, but we also have the action card Swarm, which lets you flip a battle card for each Insecticon with which you started the game. For each orange icon you flip, your opponent takes a damage counter onto a character of their choice, and for each blue you repair 1 damage from one of your Insecticons. I mean, or one of your characters, but they're all going to be Insecticons. So I think for those reasons, you got to go 4 wide if you're playing Insecticons. So, I think the real way to take advantage of this is to make sure that you're using your upgrades and moving them around to take real advantage of them. Now, you do have Bug Bomb as an Insecticon. You can only put it on an Insecticon, and when the upgraded character is KO'd, draw a card, scrap an enemy upgrade, and your opponent chooses a card from their hand and scraps it. There is a fun little combo here of when Bombshell's about to be KO'd, you can move Bug Bomb over to him, and then you can use Insecticon Scrapnel to KO one of your Insecticons, that being Chop Shop, and then tap an enemy with 13 or fewer stars. Although as we talked about in the Scrapnel video, at the moment, this is all of them. And yes, I know that means you would have to flip both at once, but we've got rapid conversion, right? And we've got rollout. So it's not like it's that difficult to get the flips going on here. Now, in terms of which upgrades you need, that is a very difficult question for me to answer in this video, because it really depends on what you're trying to do in your Insecticon deck. If you really want to be going for a Pierce strategy, then clearly Energon Axe is going to be a great call here. If you're going for a bold strategy, you want Flamethrower. If you want tough, might I suggest reinforced plating. One thing I do really like here, Insecticons tend to be melee characters. So Chop Shop is a melee character. Barrage is a melee character, but only in alt mode. Bombshell is a melee character the whole time. Your Insecticon Scrapnel is a melee character the whole time. Kickback is a melee character the entire time. And Ransack is a melee character in alt mode. So given that you want to play upgrades and given that you're primarily a melee character, you do really want to take advantage of the melee upgrades. That being body armor, put on melee characters only, tough 3. Remember from my FAQ video, link in the description, if you put it onto an Insecticon that's melee and then you flip and you're no longer melee, you still get to keep it. And then the other one here is Power Sword. It can only be put on a melee character, but it gives you bold 3. There are 41 different upgrade cards, and you want different ones depending on what your strategy is, but what I love about Chop Shop here is you can move them over. One thing you can do here is just move an upgrade to Chop Shop, giving you space to put an upgrade on one of your other characters without having to scrap the upgrade that's on them to begin with. Or you can move over a power sword before you attack, or a body armor before you defend, or a bug bomb before you're about to be KO'd. You can put an Energon axe on one of your other Insecticons and then move it onto Chop Shop when you're damaged and can actually take advantage of it. All of these things are brilliant. If you've got a force field on one of your other characters, maybe you move it onto Chop Shop if you think your opponent is about to start attacking Chop Shop. I could keep going, but I think you get the point here. Now, there is a lot of hate for upgrades around at the moment, which is a little bit of a pain. Salvage for parts scraps all upgrades on the board, and then you repair 1 damage from each character for each upgrade scrapped from it. I mean, maybe if you know your opponent's playing that, you stack upgrades on Chop Shop just to get a bit of extra healing. But ramming speed will scrap an enemy upgrade, which is a little bit of a pain. And let's not forget our old friend Inferno Fearless Firefighter, which returns all upgrades on a character to the opponent's hand when they flip into Fire Engine mode. The other character that does this is Megatron Decepticon Leader. When you flip to alt mode, scrap a card from your hand and then scrap an enemy upgrade. I really like the synergy between the two abilities on Chop Shop here, because you can move a upgrade over when you attack, and then you can flip over, scrap the upgrades, and that gives you a draw engine and repairs 1 damage. I don't like the health of 9, that's very low, but you can draw, you can heal, and it doesn't have to be Chop Shop, and you can move the right upgrade over at the right time. I think it's a really useful card, and I think it only works in Insecticon decks, but you know what, ladies and gentlemen? That's fine. Just play it in an Insecticon deck. I get more and more excited about Insecticons the more I look at them, but I want to know about you, ladies and gentlemen. Do you play Chop Shop and Insecticons? Do you play Insecticons at all? Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice, and if you want to share a list, yeah, that's why there's a comment section. Although do please remember to be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at the Wossy for some of my ramblings. But by far the most important thing as always is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross and you've been watching Wossy Plays.